Hello guys, I am Paul McWhorter from TopTechBoy.com and I am here today to talk about something that I've really been thinking a lot about, and I'm making this video in the hopes that we can start a discussion. I want to start a dialogue, and so I hope that you will listen, and then I hope you will comment down below this video, and maybe we can get a discussion started on this topic. Something we don't talk about very much, but it's something that I think is very important. And the topic that I want to talk to you today about and hear back from you is the topic of stupid. Okay, the topic of stupid. Now, if we're going to talk about stupid, I need to start and maybe start by saying what I am not talking about. Okay, what stupid is not. All right. I'm not talking about people that are slow learners. I'm not talking about someone who is a little bit slow to learn something. That is not what falls into this definition of stupid. Similarly, I'm not talking about, like, if I'm in the educational system, I'm not talking about students that have been labeled special needs, okay? In fact, really a lot of times a student is labeled special needs just because they don't fit the cookie cutter mold of the public education system. So sometimes I think that a child might be genius and might get labeled ADHD or something like that and put in special programs and be treated a certain way just because they don't like books or that they don't learn well from books. And so I'm not talking about a person with a different style of learning. I'm not talking about someone who learns slow. Okay, what I'm going to propose is, in fact, that this concept of stupid does not even have anything to do with IQ. A person could score extremely high with IQ and still fall into this category that I'm going to try to describe as stupid, okay? In fact, a lot of times in my career, I found that people that fall into this category of stupid, a lot of times they're the most highly educated. PhD in astrophysics from MIT, okay? So in my past, I was an executive at one of the national laboratories in the United States. I have been an executive at Silicon Valley high-tech companies. And so I've done a lot of different things and have worked with a lot of incredibly talented and incredibly educated people. I've also had very common jobs. I've worked on ranches building fences. I've worked with cowboys. I've worked in the oil field, roughneck on the rig floor, doing very, very manual labor. And so I've worked from everything from the most highly educated PhDs to very, very manual blue-collar labor type jobs. So I've had a very wide dynamic range in the jobs that I've done. But it doesn't matter whether I was on the rig floor, or it doesn't matter whether I was in Washington, D.C., with a group of congressmen trying to brief them on some issue of national security. I find that there's this universal concept that I call stupid. And I want to talk to you today about the 7 degrees of stupid, okay? I think a really good starting point on this is to look at some of the work that was done by Carlo Cipolla. He was sort of a kind of a philosopher, historian, analyst. I mean, he was like one of the really intellectuals. And he kind of put what I thought was a good starting framework on the concept of stupid. And so I'd like to maybe just start with a picture that he had drawn to try to help people understand this concept of stupid. And I think that if we do this, then you can sort of understand a lot better as we go through the other levels. But this is what he did. He kind of drew an axis. Okay. And so on this axis, the question is, your actions, the things that you do they benefit, I don't know how to spell benefit others? Okay, this would be yes, they benefit others. This would be benefit others. This would be no. Okay. The second issue is, are a person's actions, do they benefit themselves? This would be yes, they benefit themselves, and this would be no, they don't benefit themselves. Okay, so we've got 4 quadrants that Carlo set up, and let's kind of think about these four quadrants. You've got people, and I'm sure you have a lot of people around you, and they go about life. The things that they do benefit themselves, and while benefiting themselves, they benefit others. And what these are is these are the smart people. The smart people make the world a better place, and they enjoy living in the world that they are in, because the things they do to benefit others benefits them. Maybe they invent something, that invention makes the world a better place, and as the world becomes a better place, then they get paid for their invention. Everybody benefits. And so kind of here, you sort of create those win-win situations, and there's people that are smart that just have an uncanny knack for doing that. Then what we have in this quadrant is we have people that benefit, whose actions benefit themselves. Okay, I didn't quite get that onto the screen, but here we have on this axis people that do things that behave in a way that benefit themselves, but do not benefit others. Okay, and what Carlo called this was, he called this the bandits. Okay, the bandits are always looking out for themselves, so they will do things, maybe take advantage of other people, overcharge for things, and there's a lot of bandits around. Okay, but kind of, if we have enough smart people, we have a few bandits around, a few people that are always kind of a little bit more watching out for themselves. Society still works. We got smart people, and then we've got a few bandits, and the good of the smart people is enough to overcome the the things that are not so great about the bandits. Okay, now there are people in this quadrant who do things, yes, that benefit others, but don't worry about benefiting themselves. Now what Carlo called these is, he called these the helpless. Okay, sort of an idea of these people are the victims. And you can see I can't spell it all. Okay, these are the victims. Since I come from a little bit more of a Christian background, I think that there's good things about being selfish, and so I would maybe try to put a more positive spin on this and say that these are the givers. Okay, and so it's okay to have people that give and don't expect anything back. It's really good to have a bunch of smart people that not only make things better for them, for others, but make things better for themselves. And then, you can have a few bandits around, and you know how to deal with a bandit, right? I can always deal with a bandit. This guy's looking out for himself. I've got to watch out for him. I've got to be careful. Okay. But throughout my career, the thing that amazes me is this unique group of people whose actions not only do not benefit other people, but they're of no benefit to themselves. And these people are what we are calling stupid. And I can spell stupid. Okay, so with this, we can see we really like to have a lot of smart people. Givers are okay too, because they're making the world a better place. We know how to deal with bandits, but the problem is this concept of stupid. It is hard to deal with. It's like the guy said, you can't fix stupid, and that is really true. So I think we need to try to get our arms around this concept of stupid, and maybe collectively we can come up with a way to deal with stupid, because we know how to deal with bandits, we love smart, and we're okay with givers. But how do we deal with this? Well, to deal with it, we've got to sort of understand it. So let's go to the first degree of stupid, and the first degree of stupid is sort of pointed out here. Stupid is a person whose actions are counterproductive to themselves and to others. Okay, and so it's not just that what they're doing isn't helping other people, it's not even helping themselves. Okay, And so let me give you an example. Let's say that we get 10 people together, and maybe all 10 people are very highly educated, all 10 people have a very high IQ, and they had this idea for this thing that we're going to call the hyperflux toroid. Here we've got the hyperflux toroid, and done a lot of math, done a lot of equations, and what this hyperflux toroid will do is it will potentially solve the world's energy problem. Now, to develop this into a prototype or a demonstration, these 10 people have to all put their life savings into it. They all mortgage their house, they take all their savings, and they put it into doing the research, the equations, and they get something that demonstrates that this sort of a prototype that just might show that this hyperflux toroid is going to be something that could solve the world's energy problem. Not a fully functioning product yet, but kind of a demonstration prototype. And so they put all their life savings and all their houses mortgaged to get this thing, and then they're going to go into the testing phase, and you've got 9 of them that we're going to call this category of smart. But remember, educated can be down here stupid, and one of these stupid people slipped in. One of those 10 people is stupid. So what does he do? He comes in, he sits down, he's all excited, he picks up the hyperflux toroid and he starts twirling it like this, and it goes flying and it breaks and it shatters. Okay, that is the stupid that I am talking about. And I want you to think about this a little bit, because it's one of those really important things to understand about stupid. The stupid guy, he did not do it maliciously, and he did not do it on purpose. Okay, it's just that things break. Okay, it's just that when he's around, things break. And so that is an example of something that this person did, who might be very educated, that was of no benefit to himself and was no benefit to others. Okay, now that is the first degree of stupid. Now let's go on to the second degree of stupid. A stupid person has an uncanny knack for always breaking things. So anybody could make a mistake once, but this concept of stupid isn't a random mistake every now and again. A stupid person has this uncanny ability of always breaking things. And understand what I mean by things. A thing could be a physical thing, like the hyperflux toroid, something that is broken, dropped, broken, mishandled, and physically damaged. But a thing could also be an organization. You can have a well-functioning organization and bring in this person with this characteristic of stupid, and he breaks the organization. It could be software. He breaks the software. It could be structural things, but just whatever that thing is, a stupid person comes in and he breaks it. And again, he's not doing it intentionally, and he's not doing it maliciously, but a characteristic of his nature is that his core competency, the essence of his being, is to bring disorder around him. Smart people bring order. Stupid people bring disorder. Okay, so first degree of stupid, a person whose actions are counterproductive to others and to themselves. Second degree of stupid is an uncanny knack for always breaking things. Okay, bringing disorder into organizations, into systems, into software, into hardware, bringing disorder. Let me give you an example. Okay, let's say we got this team that was working on the hyperflux toroid to solve the world's energy problems. And now, besides mortgaging their house, they all just go get signature loans, and they borrow enough money to make another hyperflux toroid capacitor. And now they've learned that this stupid person, this person with this characteristic of stupid, we've got to keep them away from the hardware. And so we're going to keep them in another room where they can't do much damage. And so they're going to be working on equations and maybe doing things like that so that they can't break this toroid this time. And then we start doing some initial testing. The 9 guys that we're going to say are smart, they do some initial testing on this toroid. And while it hasn't yet solved the world's energy problems, it's verifying the equations, and it's a prototype that's showing that the concept is going to work. They need more money, more investment to make it work, but they have enough results, they're going to bring the venture capitalist in. And so let's say they're going to bring in the guys from Sequoia Capital, the guys that started Google and Yahoo and eBay and PayPal, and they've got enough results to get those guys to come in, and you're going to bring in these 4 best venture capitalists in the country, and they're going to fly in, and you're going to take them out to breakfast, and you're going to leave the guy with the stupid characteristic, you're going to leave him back home because you don't want him in front of the venture capitalist because, something could go wrong, because remember, they're always going to bring disorder. So you leave him back home. So you have a good breakfast, you get these guys' interest tweaked, and you start driving back towards your company, towards your little startup company. And what this guy with this characteristic of stupid that you left back home, for no particular reason, what he decides to do is he decides that he should change out the bulb on the projector in your conference room. Okay, so he gets the spare bulb. He's never done this before, but he takes the lid off the projector, and then as he's pulling the old bulb out, it twists and the pins break off inside the little socket, kind of flush with the socket. And so now not only is the bulb broken, but the projector is broken because the new bulb won't go in because those pins are broken off perfectly flush with the socket. So it's like this characteristic of stupid people is they do things independently without talking to anybody, and they do them for no reason at all. Okay, the venture capitalists show up, your projector is broken, you can't show them the videos that you made of the thing working, and you are just flat out now, they get mad, they just storm off. Okay, again, the stupid person did not do it intentionally. He did not do it maliciously, but he breaks things. He brings disorder, and he works independently. He never thinks to ask, hey guys, do you think it would be a good idea right before the venture capitalists come in to change the bulb on the projector? He doesn't ask. He works independently, and he does it for no apparent reason. It wasn't that the bulb was broken. He just decides on this day that he's going to change the bulb out. Okay, now that sort of brings us to the 3rd degree of stupidity. Okay, the stupid person will always break something. They will always bring disorder. They will always bring disorder and break something, but they will break it at the worst possible place and the worst possible time. So there would have been, let's say you've been working on your hyperflux capacitor for a year. The stupid person could have chosen any one of 365 days to change out the bulb on the projector. He could have chosen any projector on the face of the earth to try to change the bulb out on. But he chooses the worst possible place on the worst possible day, and there he will bring his disorder. Okay, every single time. It's like I'm not trying to be funny, and I'm not making this up. I mean, this is real. This is what stupid people do. They bring disorder, they bring it at the worst possible place, and they bring it at the worst possible time. And so this sort of idea of the 3rd degree of stupidity is not only do they do things that are not a benefit to them and not a benefit to others, but they do it in such a way to not only bring disorder, but to maximize disorder. They are creatures who go through their life maximizing the amount of disorder around them. They don't do it on purpose, and they don't do it maliciously, but they have this uncanny knack of maximizing disorder. Okay, that brings us to the 4th degree of stupidity. what I'm going to say the fourth degree of stupidity is kind of like, how can I say this? It's the impact of the stupidity. So I want to talk about the impact of the stupidity. So we have smart and we have stupid, okay? And I'm going to create a mathematical function, and I'm going to call it the impact of stupid, okay? And this is like how many waves are created from stupid. So you have kind of like bad waves and you have good waves. The impact of stupid is much, much greater than 10 times the impact of genius. G-E-N-I-U-S. I am a horrible speller. But the impact of stupid is much, much greater than 10 times the impact of genius. Right? Now let's get back to it. Remember when we had this group of 10 people, 9, we're going to say not only were they smart, but they were like way up here in what we're going to call the genius category. And these geniuses, these 9 geniuses, created the hyperflux toroid, and they were going to solve the world's energy problems. But despite you had 9 brilliant geniuses, it only takes one stupid person to completely eliminate the potential positive impact of the 10 geniuses, because the carelessness, this bringing of disorder and breaking the thing completely negates the potential impact of 10 geniuses. So not only do these stupid people maximize the disorder around them by doing the worst possible thing at the worst possible time, one stupid person can wipe out the best efforts of 10 geniuses. Okay. Now that sort of then brings us to the next point. Okay, we're on the 5th degree of stupid, and the 5th degree of stupid is that these people, these stupid people, they have this incredible, uncanny knack of convincing other people that their way of doing things is right. Okay, and this sort of drives the smart people crazy, because this guy up here, he is smart and he knows that what he is doing is right, but he can't always get people to see it, and it seems like the stupid way of doing things then begin to permeate the organization. That it just takes this one guy, but the one guy sort of gets his way of doing things put into place in the organization. So 5th degree of stupid is that while everything that the stupid person does brings disorder, he has some ability of getting his way of doing things to become the standard operating procedure. Okay. The 6th degree of stupid. The 6th degree of stupid is that the stupid person, not only does he never, ever have a good idea, but he can't recognize a good idea when one is put in front of him. Okay, so let me show you what I mean by that. Let me see if I can get a piece of paper here. Okay, so let's say that I'm going to get off of our flux toroid for a while. I'm going to talk about a simpler thing. Let's say that an organization needs to make bags of candy. Okay. And what they want is 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say they're going to have like 20 bags of candy. Okay, so you've got 20 boxes. I'll try to draw the boxes here. You've got 20 boxes, and each box has a different type of candy in it. So you've got your M&Ms, you've got your Big Hunk, you've got your Jolly Ranchers, you've got all your different candies, and what you need to do in your organization is you need to get bags, and you need to put one of each type of candy in the bag. So what you're going to have is the stupid person is going to get his bag here, okay, and then he's going to walk to the first box, get the first candy, bring it back. And then he's going to walk to the second box, and he is going to get the second candy and bring it back. And then he's going to walk to the third box, he's going to get his candy, and he's going to bring it back. And then he's going to walk to the fourth box, and he's going to bring it back. And then he's going to walk to out to the 20th box and bring it back. And then he has his one bag of candy filled with his 20 different types of candy. Now, what you can see is this is a what? This is a stupid way of doing things. And it fits the definition because it's certainly not benefiting others to do that. And in fact, it's not benefiting the person. It's not benefiting the person because he's just having to do a lot more work. It's certainly not benefiting others. It's certainly not benefiting the organization. But he's going to do this. Okay. Now that's kind of back to just our standard first degree of stupid, right? That's just the first degree of stupid. Okay. But now let's get to the sixth degree of stupid. The sixth degree of stupid is a smart person comes in, and the smart person says, look, get your bag and just walk box, put the first in, box, put the second in, box, put the third in, box, put the fourth in, out to the 20th, and that will work better. That's like 20 times more efficient. And hey, if you think about it, why don't you start here with 2 bags, and then when you go through, get 1, 2, 3 out to 20, and then come back, and as you're on your round trip back, fill the other bag up, and man, it's like we're a factor of 50 or 100 better off. But you know what the stupid person does in the sixth degree of stupid? He says, well, I don't like that way. I'm not going to do it that way. So first of all, if Mr. Smart that comes in, if he is a peer or a co-worker, Mr. Stupid is just going to ignore him and says, I don't like your way of doing it. I like my way better. I think my way's better. Going to ignore any facts, going to ignore any data, going to ignore any logical argument. It's just, I think mine's better. I just feel like this is a better way of doing it. And then he is going to go in his back and forth way to fill those bags. Okay. Now, you might say, and this really, I'm really not trying to be funny. I'm trying to talk to people, particularly if you like manage an organization. Maybe you sort of recognize this stuff, and I hope you recognize that I am really not exaggerating. I might be coming up with oversimplified examples, but I'm not exaggerating. We've got stupid people, and we've got to figure out how to deal with them because they are wrecking our organizations. They are wrecking the school system. They are wrecking big companies. They are wrecking small companies. Okay, so if you're a manager, maybe you come in and then you tell Mr. Stupid that he has got to do it this way. He has got to do it the better way. He has got to do it where he goes from box to box to box, carrying the bag and putting the bag of the piece of candy in it. But you know what? He'll kind of do it while you're watching. But when you're not watching, you know what he's going to do? He's going to go back and do it the stupid way every single time. Because what does the stupid person do? They bring disorder to everything around them. They break systems, and they do things in such a way that they're going to maximize disorder. And even if you kind of got him doing it the right way, the day before, that big order has to be complete in order for your company to get that big contract that's going to let you take your company to the next level. At that time, he's going to go back to his way of doing it. And he's not going to get his bags filled. Okay, that is the sixth degree of stupid. Okay. Now we finally come to the last level. And the last level is the seventh degree of stupid. Okay, the seventh degree of stupid. And this is what the seventh degree of stupid is. The seventh degree of stupid really gets down to the spatial distribution of stupid. So let's talk about the spatial distribution of smart. Like you got a guy and he's smart and he decides to come to work, and this is his little sphere of influence. This is his little cubicle, and he decides, he figures out that if he comes in and he looks at all the tasks for the day and he orders those tasks in a certain sequence. By ordering those tasks in a certain sequence, he's not having to continually retool between one set of software tools and another set of software tools. He kind of groups things together where all the like tasks get put together and they get done and get done and get done, and therefore he operates at a very high level of efficiency. And so what you have is you have this huge organization, and this smart person is very effective. So we'll kind of put a star there because he's being effective. But the thing is that typically, so many times with smart people, it's like it's kind of limited to their immediate geography, their immediate little cubicle. It doesn't just diffuse out through the whole organization. But at the 7th degree of stupid, this guy, when he comes in, and this is Mr. Stupid, okay, this is Mr. Stupid, when he comes in, his stupidity gets spatially diffused throughout the whole organization or the whole operation. And let me tell you how. These stupid people are naturally the people that gravitate towards the jobs that are things like writing the standard operating procedures. Okay, because Mr. Smart, he doesn't want to write a standard operating procedure. He just wants to come in and he wants to do his job, and he wants to do it quicker, better, more profitable, better this. It's just like everything, efficiency, and it's just if he just sticks with his own business, he can get everything working great. He doesn't want to go over and be in a bureaucracy where you sit around and generate manuals. Okay, but Mr. Stupid, he gravitates towards the jobs and the companies that are associated with another word that I can't spell, bureaucracy, and standard operating procedures and manuals of operation and environmental safety and health and quality and all of those things he's brought over there. And that way he can do, which is, remember, the 3rd degree of stupid is to maximize disorder. The way that he can do the 3rd degree of stupidity is with the 7th degree of stupidity, and that is gravitating towards the jobs that define how everyone else has to do their job. And therefore, Mr. Stupid, now not only does Mr. Smart, who was at least having a tiny bit of positive impact, now he can't do things his way anymore. He has to do things according to the standard operating procedure, which was written by Mr. Stupid. And at the point that you get there, you get to the 7th degree of stupid, because stupid people are drawn to bureaucracy. Okay, so how does this happen that stupid people end up having so much influence? Well, it's kind of like this. And a very smart person told me once, I actually used to work with the venture capitalists and all of these guys who started Google and started all these things. And a very smart guy, I won't mention his name, but he told me one day, he said, this is the thing you have to understand. A students hire A students, and B students hire C students. Okay, and so by A students, I mean, you know what I mean. An A student is someone who gets top grades, a person that is smart and is a top performer. He wants to surround himself with more smart people because, it's like on this thing, you get a bunch of smart people together and sparks start flying and good things start happening. So an A person, he wants to surround himself with an A person. Okay, like if I'm an A person, man, I want to hire someone smarter than me. I want to be the dumbest one in the organization because smart people love being around smart people. Okay, A students hire A students, but B students hire C students. So why does a B student want to hire a C student? And when we get to C students, I mean, I'm just going to kind of, a lot of people make C's and they're not stupid, but for the sake of this illustration, I'm going to call these the stupid people. Okay? And what happens is the smart person isn't going to hire the stupid person, but somehow you end up with a B student in the organization and he starts hiring the C students. Why does he hire the C student? He hires the C student because if he hires someone stupid, it will make him look smart. Okay. It will also make him look needed because, oh my, look at all these people messing up. You've got to keep me here, keeping things straight. So he sort of creates a need for himself by bringing in people who bring this disorder. And so he becomes this sort of in-between person, not stupid, not smart, but a person who creates a need for himself by bringing stupid people in so he can be going around trying to keep this disorder beat down. Okay, now, when a smart person suggests that things should be done one way, the smart way, and then the C student that was brought in suggests the stupid way, not only is the C student drawn to the bureaucracy and the desire to maximize disorder by writing the company standard operating procedures, the B student who wants to look smart, he doesn't choose the smart way to do it. He chooses the way the C student did it, the stupid way. Why? Because he doesn't want to admit that he hired a bunch of stupid people. So he gets defensive, and rather than listening to the smart person, he's going to go with the stupid person for two reasons. Because he hired those stupid people, and he's got to make himself look good, so he's going to do it the stupid way. So you've got these B students in mid-level management. They're hiring the C students and the stupid people, makes them needed, can't get rid of that middle level management because we've got to manage these stupid people. Plus he then, to make himself look good like he hired the right people, he says, well, they're really doing it right and we're going to do things this way. While at the same time, the stupid people are drawn to the jobs that allow them to maximize the disorder in the organization. So I'll be honest with you. I think I'm kind of a little bit onto something. I'd really appreciate it if you would comment down here your experience and your thoughts with stupid people around you and in your organization. And I'll be honest, I have never really figured out, I can deal with bandits, I can deal with givers, I can deal with smart people, but I've just never figured out how to deal with the stupid. I mean, the obvious thing is I try to limit them as much as I can. Like I say, you don't take them with you to meet the customer. You don't take them to breakfast with you to meet the customer. You don't let them touch things. You try to isolate them, but man, those 7 degrees of stupid, it's like they diffuse. It is just like it's like a noxious gas that you just cannot get to stay in a bottle. And so I'd appreciate your thoughts. I mean, do you think that we sort of are maybe kind of starting to identify things here with these 7 degrees of stupid? Have you experienced this? What has your experience been? And does anybody have a suggestion out there about how to deal with stupid? Okay, this has been a little bit different topic, but I think it's an important one. Paul McWhorter, TopTechBoy.com. Hope to hear your comments on this.